Home to over 600,000 people, formerly a Portuguese colony, now a special administrative region of China. This city, right at the heart of the Pearl River Delta, is where many legends of Grand Prix racing first edged their names into history. Schumacher, Hakkinen, Coulthard, Gugelmin, Patrese, the list goes on. And right here is where the International Board of Sim Racing is going to hold its first ever Superprix. For the first time in the organization's history, drivers are going to compete in 2 consecutive races. The first race will be a 10-lap sprint, deciding the starting grid for the 20-lap finale. The grid for the sprint, however, will be contested in a 10-minute qualifying session.
And if last season is anything
To go by, TCG is bound to win the inaugural Superprix with their wunderkind Lorenzo Turi on board. The Italian is the reigning WMSC3 World Tour champion and one of the hottest prospects within the world of iBoss. However, during the Sim Racing 500, Turi threw away his shot at victory. Josh Flynn is going to join him as a solid hand. Meanwhile, Super Gazelle Racing aims to simply finish this chaotic endeavor with all 3 of its cars. Team boss Josh Kassar managed to clinch his first career win during the WMSC3 World Tour. The weight of that elusive first victory finally lifted off his shoulders. While Dominik Kronsky also managed to win a race last year, Simon Core wasn't capable of such success. Backrow Motorsport turns up with Lucas Hamilton and Mark Wittmann, both proverbial underdogs in the iBoss world. The Mirablau crew has actually brought 2 teams to the virtual Macau, while Shadow Esports is gonna give Juho Tsekko Sopanen, Davide Zanini, and Charlotte Manick fancy-looking machinery. Mirablau's Motorsports team will be represented by Agatino Bivona, Krzysztof Sisilski, and Francesco Di Roberto. Keep an eye on both Davide Zanini and Juho Tsekko Sopanen because both of them are gonna race in the upcoming World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship. Costech has brought Gonzalez Cativo and Bartosz Krpeta to the Guya circuit. While Cativo's role as the iBoss veteran may or may not help him out on this dangerous street circuit, Krpeta is known for his bizarre antics. That being said, he is touted as a quick driver if he can keep it together. Team Italia Esports is running 3 cars for the Superprix. Alessandro Maggio is the team boss, on pace with Turi, and therefore one of the favorites. While he's the former world record holder for Adelaide in the Formula V12, Mr. Turi took that away from him ahead of the Macau event.
Well, I think on road pace, we're about there. Like maybe at maximum half a second. Because I raced with him in the past in R-Factor 1 and I was quicker than him, but again, R-Factor 1 is different from Automobilista. So I feel like he has the upper edge on me on Automobilista, but if I can get the right setup, I think we're about there.
Maggio will be joined by solid racer Aaron Curtis and Joe Gillette. With these 3 competitors on board, Team Italia might have the strongest lineup for the 2-race event. And finally, Aaron Smith is going to compete for the Lightning Engineering team. With an iRacing championship under his belt, Smith decided to get a new rig for the upcoming 2023 season.
I definitely think compared to last season, it's going to be a lot better for me because, I don't know, just the consistency that comes with it, like the new pedals that I got especially are just worlds different from having, you know, pretty pooey old Fanatec pedals and now going to proper sim racing VRS pedals. It's such a huge difference, and even doing the 24 hours of Daytona like just a few days ago, like I just felt a lot more comfortable and just the consistency was so much better than it was before. And I think especially around a track like Macau, I think consistency is quite important. So yeah, I think this weekend should be time for me to sort of prove that I can actually keep it on the track.
While he is considered to be one of the favorites for the event, Smith has never won a race in the online racing Super League. However, he is touted to be one of its quickest drivers and one of the dark horses for the upcoming World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship. Practice was quite tough for many racers. The tight and twisty circuit requires premium concentration and a calm head at all times. Lose focus for just a second and you'll have a smooching session with one of the barriers. Qualifying, however, wouldn't be a big hassle in this regard, seeing as drivers were allowed to restart as many times as they pleased. With the entire track to themselves, it was all about raw pace. It's Alessandro Maggio who takes pole position ahead of his fierce rival Lorenzo Turi. Josh Flynn qualifies in third ahead of Davide Zanini, Aaron Smith, Charlotte Manick, Agatino Bivona, Josh Kassar, Joe Gillette, and Krzysztof Cesilski rounding out the top 10. Francesco Di Roberto behind them ahead of Dominik Kronsky, Mark Wittmann, Bartosz Krpeta, and Simon Kor. Sopanen, Kativo, and Lucas Hamilton were the final three competitors to qualify, with Aaron Curtis not setting a time due to technical difficulties. And with that out of the way, I'm going to hand you over to our new colleague Robin, who's going to do commentary for both the sprint race and the feature race.
Thank you, Simon, and thanks for having me. And we already start here with the formation lap, as this is where the first bit of drama happened, as Lorenzo Turi, reigning WMSC3 World Tour champion and one of the favorites going into today's race, has already left himself with all to do, as he put it into the wall at the hairpin there. And well, he had to start the race from the pit lane, and this is really unfortunate for him, as together with Maggio he was one of the main favorites going into today's race, as these two were so quick in practice and qualifying. Well, now he had to start from the pit lane, and here we are on the grid already, as we see the final couple of cars approaching the grid, as we are waiting for the lights to go green here at the Guya circuit in Macau. And away we are for the sprint race of this year's MACAU SUPERPRIX. It's a very good getaway from Alessandro Maggio, who has already a couple of car lengths between himself and Josh Flynn in second, though now the slipstream is very powerful towards the circuit's first proper braking zone, which is the Lisboa corner, as they are getting very close to the wall through that very fast right-hand bend there. And now you can really see the slipstream kicking in, as Josh Flynn is trying it around the outside, but Maggio positions the car brilliantly and defends his lead. And to my surprise, they all make it through kinda unscathed through that first proper corner, as in the background we see the first front wing flying, and
Manning without a front wing, be careful.
And it was Charlotte Manning. We will look at the replay of that later, as we just heard the voice of our race director today. And we just are watching Agatino Bivona, who is trying to make it up into the podium positions, as he's battling Aaron Smith, the only Lightning Engineering entry for today's race. He just looked very eager to make it past him.
Safety car.
Oh, and we have the first safety car of the day, and here is the reason for this. Lewis Hamilton has crashed and lost his front left tire, and we see how this happened here. Oh, there's a Costech car spinning on track, and then trying to avoid it, he hit the wall and lost his wheel in the process. And now let's see what happened. Oh, Kativo just lost it on a bump, and then, yeah, Lewis Hamilton hit the wall. And this here is the situation involving Manning, who lost her front wing there. Oh, was he touched from behind by her teammate even? This is the rear view of Manning. Let's see, she's making a brilliant move here around the outside, and then I think Zanini just ever so slightly touched her in the rear, and this put her into the wall. Well, and this safety car might have been the chance for Lorenzo Turi to get back into today's race, but I say it might have been, because he once again crashed all on his own. So he was therefore out of this race, as we are now approaching the end of lap 2. and the safety car has pulled back into the pit lane, and Maggio will now set the pace for the restart, and he is accelerating right now, and it looks like a very good restart as he has already put a couple of car lengths between himself and Josh Flynn in second once more, and Flynn now has to defend from Aaron Smith, who is trying round the outside as we just passed the Hotel Mandarin here, and it gets very close there with the wall, and Smith has to stay in third. But now they're making it 3 wide towards the first proper braking zone of this circuit, and Smith takes them both and takes the lead of this race. What a brilliant move by Aaron Smith, who is able to stay in first and to keep Maggio behind for now, as they're now entering the very tight and technical part of this track that only gets tighter and tighter until we reach the third sector. Maggio looks very feisty behind him. And wow, he gets very close to the wall there as well and almost loses the back end of his car. But for now, Aaron Smith with a double overtake has taken the lead of the sprint race here. And he is now able to keep Maggio behind, as behind them we see Flynn being busy defending from Bivona, who once again after the restart looks very, very interested in making it into the podium spots. But now he has to defend from Zanini as he lost a bit of touch with Flynn. So the
slow car, no rear wing, be careful.
There is a car without a rear wing. This is the information we're getting. We'll check that in a minute, but now, for now, let's just watch them go towards the hairpin for the first time in racing speed. And we see Cativo has spun once more on track as he's trying to get it pointing into the right direction as well again, and it's Kielinski who lost his rear wing. This is the call we just heard earlier, but let's look at the top of the field once more as Bivona is still busy keeping Zanini behind, but now a good exit out of the final corner sees him being able to attack Flynn once more. In the foreground you are able to see Smith and Maggio, who are still battling for the race lead. I think Maggio is too far away to try move in this lap, but Bivona definitely is able to try something against Josh Flynn. He is on the inside.
For Bartosz Kopeta, causing a collision.
And Bivona is alongside Flynn, and he has the better line going towards the Hotel Lisboa, and he makes it past and moves up into third. This is what he has been working for quite a while, and here we see Zanini being very, very busy defending from Gillett, as we just get confirmed that Bartosz Kopeta got a drive-through penalty, just like we've heard a couple of seconds ago. And now let's look at the top of the grid, and once more in that corner. We've seen it the lap before as well. Maggio is really, really eager to get back into the race lead. But for now, I think he has to settle for second, as on this part of the track you can't really overtake. Of course you can, but it involves a lot of risk for yourself and the car you are battling. And he gets very close to the walls. He is really on the edge, and you can see that he is able to go just that little bit quicker than Aaron Smith. But catching up is one thing, passing is an entirely different thing, as they say.
Careful, spun car. Hazard has spun, be careful.
So another spin on track. Ooh, as we see Smith really lighting up his rears there. He didn't lose too much time though. Still, Maggio is a lot closer than he was last lap, so he might be able to try something this time around. There's another battle going on, another very interesting battle here for third, as Flynn is trying to make it past Bivona again to get back onto the podium spots. As now we are entering lap 5. And Maggio is really, really close, so he can use the slipstream to his advantage now. Getting alongside, Smith defending the inside. Maggio staying behind for now, which is quite smart because Lisboa is the better overtaking spot. And Smith defending the inside. Now they are side by side, but Smith has the better line through Lisboa. They're getting very close to each other and close to the wall as well. But Smith manages to stay in first, and Bivona, just like Smith, managed to stay ahead of Josh Flynn as well. So no changes in position, but two very, very exciting battles we have here. If this goes on for the rest of this sprint race, we are in for an absolute banger. Maggio is able to go faster, as I've said before, from what we can see here, especially through that more technical bit. But as I said, I think he has to make it past Smith in sectors.
Bivona, no rear wing.
Oh, Bivona has. Oh, and Maggio as well. Maggio crashed into the wall there as we were just trying to watch what happened to Bivona. Maggio hits the wall and loses his rear wing. Drama as P2 and 3 crash in the same lap and are now falling down the order. Here's Spon as well.
Careful, Maggio also lost his rear wing. No rear wing on Maggio.
Two of the big favorites now out of contention. This is Sopanen. He has lost his rear and now his front wing as well. And there is a Kostek. Curtis in the Team Italia eSport also kind of involved in a traffic jam there. And oh my goodness, that is a heavy crash, a heavy pile up out of the MACAU hairpin. We need to see a replay of that. What happened there? Bartosz Kopeta is involved. Two Shadow eSports cars by Mirablau involved. So let's look at the replays of everything that just happened. So this is the rear wing of Bivona running in third at this point, and oh, he just clipped the inside wall there ever so slightly, and that put him into the wall at the exit of the corner, and this is where he then lost his rear wing. Now let's look at what happened to Maggio as well. This we have seen kinda live, but now, oh, did he just lose it under turning there? We need to see that one from another angle maybe. And then of course he spun around because he was missing a rear wing, and yeah, I think he hit the wall ahead of that corner as well, and that might have unsettled the car. So he hit the wall on the exit of that corner. And now let's see what followed after that. This is Maggio's teammate Aaron Curtis. And they're now going towards Donna Maria, and oh, they were hit in their rear wing by Sopanen. We've seen that he lost his rear wing as well, and this is how it happened. And then we see Manning making it through, a Kostek standing there, and this is Maggio then crashing heavily out of the MACAU hairpin, and then a traffic jam builds, and I think it was the Kostek of Kopeta just going into this entirely unsighted without braking and hitting the end of that traffic jam. And this is Kopeta's onboard view. He was standing there as well, and he made it Yeah, okay, he just didn't decelerate at all when cars ahead of him were stopping for Maggio, who was, of course, stranded on track. Now back to the live action as we see an interesting battle here for fifth between Dominik Kronsky and Mark Wittmann. So, now, finally things looking right for Super Gazelle. They put their focus on the race. They didn't score a great qualifying result, but now things are looking rather good for them, as we are now riding on board with Davide Zanini in the only Shadow eSports car right now that is still looking fine. Sopanen and Manning, we have seen what happened to them. They were both involved in that MACAU hairpin traffic jam. Zanini all the while moved up into third, and he would really need that third place, as he wants to prove that he deserves that spot in the WMSC 2023 season. And he's even looking at P2 right now, as he is getting closer and closer to Josh Flynn, who of course moved up into second after Bivona and Maggio's crashes. But he will have to defend this one as well, as the Vide Zanini is looking really quick right now. As we are already in the final laps of this sprint race. The sprint race, of course, is or will be setting the grid for the main race. And Zanini getting into the corner a little fast, and he hits the wall and lost his rear as well. What is going on? Does no one want to finish on the podium? Another driver error leading to a driver losing their rear wing, and this time it was Davide Zanini running in third. So, coming towards the end of lap 9, this is the most interesting on-track battle we have right now, as things are looking pretty relaxed now for Smith and Flynn in first and second. Gillett moved up into third. Wittmann fourth. Kronsky somehow disappeared. He was battling Wittmann a couple of laps ago. We've seen that live. As Josh Cassar is getting closer and closer to Francesco Di Roberto. And they might even be able to try to make it past
you can retire the car if you want.
The best placed Mirablow driver right now, which is Di Roberto. So keeping it clean really is the way to go here in Macau. You are really able to see this. Cassar had a spin, of course, at the beginning of this race, we heard. As we are now looking at the rear view of Di Roberto, as Cassar ahead of the pit straight is already trying to make it past. This is not really a good corner to make a move though, as you can easily be countered with the slipstream here. Cassar still making it, or trying to make it past. I think they even made contact through there. Very hard fought battle here for P5. Cassar now slightly ahead. And he's going ahead towards Lisboa, and he even manages to get fully ahead of Di Roberto to then switch towards the inside. Hard but fair defending from Cassar, who therefore moves into 5th. Di Roberto now in 6th. Let's see if he can counter that. It doesn't seem so, as Cassar already put a couple of car lengths between himself and Di Roberto. So
slow car on track, be careful.
More slow cars. Joe Gillett in 3rd has lost his rear wing. Another Italia Esports cars without a rear wing. Another driver on the podium spots, crashing on their own. Wittmann spun in 4th. Wittmann is 4th right now. So yeah, he has lost his rear wing as well. Oh my goodness, what is going on in that final lap? The battle we just saw between Cassar and Di Roberto might ultimately have been for 3rd if they can get on with it. Right now we're seeing Aaron Smith making it across the line here to win the sprint race of the 2023 MACAU SUPERPRIX. Congratulations to Aaron Smith, his first win in RSL. Josh Flynn makes it home into P2, as we see Gillett really trying his best to stay in third, but it looks good. This is Wittmann. He still is in fourth. In the background, you are able to see Cassar and Di Roberto. Gillett going towards the final corner. I think he just manages to hold on to it. It reminds me a bit of Lewis Hamilton in the 2020 British Grand Prix, coming on with 3 tires, and oh no, he spins on the pit straight, but it's still enough to clinch third. Impressive performance there. Cassar makes it home in fourth, Wittmann fifth, then Di Roberto sixth. Kronsky, just with a brilliant 360 going out of the final corner, comes home in seventh. And now let's look at the replay at what's happened to to Gillett and Wittmann there. So this is the situation with Gillett in third. He also hit the inside wall there, unsettled the car, and then crashed into the wall and lost his rear wing. He lost it on the first impact, by the way, not this one there. The spin was due to his rear wing missing. And then, and this is almost a perfect copy from what happened to Zanini here with Wittmann, and then he also crashes into the wall forwards. But let's once again look at that race-winning move on the restart by Aaron Smith. This is what has won him the race, and I will just stay silent, let you enjoy this absolutely brilliant move by our race winner here, and afterwards I'll hand over back to Simon. Thanks for having me, and I'll see you all at the feature race.
I'm in the lead. Suck my dick.
No thanks.
Just hold everyone up. Wait for me, please.
So Aaron Smith is going to start the feature race at the MACAU SuperPrix from pole position ahead of Josh Flynn, Joe Gillette, and Josh Cassar in the top 4. Mark Wittmann is going to start in a surprising 5th place ahead of Francesco Di Roberto, Dominic Kronsky, Bartosz Kapeta, Simon Cora, and Aaron Curtis. Curtis making up the most places out of anybody with 9 places, seeing as Curtis had started from the back of the grid. Davide Zanini is going to start in 11th ahead of Gonzalez Cativo, Charlotte Manning, Giuseppe Sopanen, Agostino Bivona, Krzysztof Cesilski, Alessandro Maggio, Lucas Hamilton, and Lorenzo Turi. But there's going to be a few more spicy news regarding the feature race once we get to video 2 about the 2023 MACAU SuperPrix. Until then, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all for the feature race.